morning. My name is Ken Wells. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to start off this morning by making a correction on my last video. I was talking about the gutang technique, horizontal and vertical. When I come in to wipe that punch back and I gutang like this to guard against my attack, this is called vertical gutang. In the last video, I actually called it horizontal gutang, which was my bad. Horizontal gutang is actually when you catch the punch and you wipe out to the side. So, just to make those corrections, you have to understand that I deal with 4 different systems at one time. Kali, Salat, the modified version of Wing Chun Kung Fu, also traditional Wing Chun Kung Fu. Not to mention the training we do in the realistic approach to combat system. So if I make a mistake in terminology, I apologize, but really it's apples and oranges. So now, what I would like to talk about this morning is the same position that we use the hinge technique in, from right to left lead. What I'm going to talk about this morning is a technique we call lop sao gua choy. Now, when I shoot on my opponent from right to left lead, and I shoot up the middle because my opponent's hands are more at a wider stance there, what will happen is I will shoot up the middle and my opponent will give me, because he's in left lead, he will give me this lead crossing energy to my right-handed attack. So as I attack and shoot on my opponent, his left hand is going to push this hand across. Now, as I explained in the other video, this is a good time to hinge. It is also a good time to lop sao gua choy. Now, what dictates whether I should hinge or I should lop sao gua choy? When I shoot on my opponent and he pushes my hand to the side, if I see that there's a handle here, because what happens is sometimes the person you're fighting may be a sophisticated fighter. They may have some skills. So if that's the case, you shoot on them, they could actually block that with their hand, leaving you no handle. It could be that as you shoot on your opponent, he panics, gives you this barrier, but he blocks your punch more in this part of his arm. This is going to leave you a handle. When I shoot and he starts to push across, there's going to be, his arm's going to be right here pushing my arm across, and at this time I could lop sao gua choy because I have a handle. So as I shoot and he pushes his hand across, what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate, because I realize he's blocking me. What I'm going to do is, all in one motion, I'm going to withdraw this hand, wiping this hand down, grabbing his arm, pulling him into me with a back fist, or a poke to the eye, or whatever you may want to do at that point. The point is, the technique is called lop sao gua choy. Like I said, what dictates whether I should hinge or lop sao gua choy? Well, if there's no handle, of course I would hinge in that point, because I have nothing to lop sao gua choy to. If there is a handle from the barrier, then that will dictate I can lop sao gua choy at the time. Now, this is an endless argument here. As I approach and shoot on my opponent, should I meet reference before I lop sao gua choy? It's an endless argument. Listen, you know, in tradition, what's taught is that you must meet reference before you trap. we've learned throughout time that the trapping skills, once you start using them, become better and better, obviously. Um, you will tend to reach a point in your training where meeting reference is no longer necessary. Um, so what I'm saying here is this. If I'm in right lead and I see that my opponent's in left lead, he's got that wider stance, I know when I shoot up the middle, odds that he's going to give me this barrier with no handle is ridiculous. It could happen, but it's only going to happen maybe 1 out of 10 times. So what I will tend to do, instead of using the hinge technique more, I will tend to focus more training on the lop south choy technique. Because if you notice when you shoot on your opponent, you know if that lead hand's forward from his left lead, obviously he's not going to let you hit him. He's going to give you that lead crossing energy. So what you could do is as you shoot and you start to notice that lead crossing energy come up, immediately grab his arm and suck him into the lop south choy technique before you meet reference. If you can get your trapping skills down to the point that you don't have to meet reference to trap, I would say that's very good. Um, I would say that's excellent. Especially throughout the realistic approach to combat course. You know, you have 6 months here. I have taken many, many people with no experience and made them a force to be reckoned with in 6 months. Um, the thing about your trapping skills that you have to realize is that once you learn the trapping skills, they don't go anywhere. I teach the trapping skills from reference, of course, because that's the way it's taught to beginners. Once you learn how to trap from reference, your trapping skills are going nowhere. They can only get better, and they're only going to get better if you train. Remember, when we have these classes, I show you a technique. I don't have all week to spend with you training. It is up to you to train these techniques, not up to me. I've spent year after year after year training these techniques. My training days are over. I'm here to teach you how to perform these techniques correctly. Once I leave, it's up to you to train the technique. Thank you very much. Have a good day.